They weren't supposed to see it, at least not yet. A cold Jerusalem dawn. Tourists scattered along the Temple Mount's perimeter. Then, one man stops, blinks, raises his phone. At first, it looks like just another patch of weathered stone. But as the sun crests the Mount of Olives, a pattern begins to emerge. Not random, not natural. 4 ancient Hebrew letters shimmer into visibility. Yod, He, Vav, He, the sacred tetragrammaton, the name Yahweh. And it's written directly above the Golden Gate. No carving tools, no scaffolding, no human trace. Just a name, appearing where prophecy says the king will one day return. By midday, the footage is everywhere. Ultra-Orthodox forums ignite, evangelical channels erupt. Within 36 hours, Israeli authorities quietly cordon off the site. No explanation, no press. But thermal imaging from a leaked defense satellite reveals something stranger. The stone where the inscription lies is radiating heat, in the shape of the letters, not around it, through it, and the gate still sealed, just as it has been for nearly 500 years when Sultan Suleiman ordered it bricked shut to keep the Jewish Messiah out. No one's gone in, no one's come out. But if what's happening now is even half real, you'll want to follow every new revelation as it unfolds. Hit subscribe, turn on all notifications. And if you believe some truths were never meant to stay hidden, tap like to keep this story alive. Until now, when the wall itself begins to speak. In 1 Kings 9:3, God tells Solomon, "I have consecrated this temple by putting my name there forever." For centuries, scholars debated what that meant. Was it metaphor, divine presence, or something yet to come? An Israeli geologist, Dr. Matan Eliav, didn't think much of the inscription at first, until he noticed a parallel. The location of the letters aligns perfectly with a magnetic anomaly detected in 1995 by IDF surveyors, a hot zone dismissed at the time. Now, that same zone pulses every morning at 4:13 a.m., precisely when the first light touches the eastern wall. Using ground-penetrating radar, a second anomaly is uncovered. A narrow tunnel, less than a meter wide, running directly beneath the Golden Gate and curving upward towards the Mount of Olives. It's not on any blueprint. For centuries, the Eastern Gate has been the silent guardian of messianic expectation. Known also as the Gate of Mercy, it's believed to be the very gate through which the Messiah will enter Jerusalem. Ezekiel saw it in vision. Zechariah named the mount before it. Jesus crossed it on a donkey, weeping for the city. And now, above that same sealed threshold, the name of Yahweh begins to form. Not in chalk, not in blood, but in erosion lines that match no surrounding pattern. Linguists studying the footage note that the letter forms aren't modern script, but Paleo-Hebrew, a style used before the Babylonian exile, found only on ancient scrolls, pottery shards, and priestly seals. This isn't the Hebrew of today, it's the language of David, of Moses, and somehow it's embedded in 2,000-year-old limestone. A Messianic Jewish pastor from Jaffa, David Shalev, visits the site the following week. When he speaks the name aloud, Yahweh, the audio from his live stream catches a frequency spike, nearly inaudible but real. Spectrogram analysis shows a sustained 528 Hz tone, the same miracle frequency theorized by acoustic researchers to stimulate healing in human DNA. The moment the word is uttered, doves on the wall take flight, all at once. Back in the labs of Hebrew University, a separate investigation is underway. A single, forgotten copper scroll, recovered from Qumran Cave 3, was long thought to be a priestly inventory, but under new AI-enhanced multispectral analysis, a faded line becomes legible. And when the name rises from stone, the gate shall no longer hold. The scroll dates to the 2nd century BC. 2 days later, a seismic tremor is recorded beneath the Temple Mount. It lasts 6 seconds. No damage reported, no tectonic activity nearby, but the epicenter, directly under the eastern wall. Satellite time-lapse from the following morning shows something no one expected. The mortar line along the top arch of the Golden Gate has cracked. A Muslim cemetery lies just in front of the gate, placed there by Ottoman rulers to prevent the Messiah's arrival, believing no holy man would defile himself by crossing graves. But now, even the cemetery shows strange signs. A grave marker dated 1654, untouched for centuries, has shifted 22 degrees toward the wall. A private drone sent up by a local tour guide captures it from above. And there, just below the inscription, the stones bear scorch-like shadows, though no fire touched them. The IDF, alerted to the anomaly, reroutes thermal balloons to monitor the area. At 3:17 a.m., the next morning, a beam of light, narrow, vertical, pure white, is captured, emitting from the topmost stone for 0.8 seconds before vanishing. No aircraft, no flash, no explanation. Inside a sealed room, beneath the western wall tunnels, a rabbinic council gathers. No phones, no notes, just silence and scrolls. One source inside reports a chilling statement from a senior Kabbalist. The gate is trembling. The name is waking. We are unprepared. The next night across the city, a 94-year-old woman named Miriam dreams of fire coming from the eastern wall. When she wakes, she sketches what she saw. 4 Hebrew letters glowing in gold. She has never studied scripture, never learned Hebrew, and yet the letters match perfectly. The whisper is turning into a roar. Something ancient is reawakening. The name is appearing. The gate is stirring, and the city is listening. That same night, deep within the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, an alarm is triggered, not from the chapel, but from the crypt. A motion sensor, decades old, picks up what's described as a pressure change. When the guards arrive, nothing is missing, but the ancient sensor, chained since the 1800s, is swinging. No wind, no quake, and engraved on its side, the name Yahweh in Paleo-Hebrew, the exact style now forming on the eastern wall. By morning, the Vatican requests the sensor data. 3 days later, a restricted document from the Pontifical Biblical Commission circulates quietly among select scholars. Marked Level 4 Access Only, it includes photographs taken in 1929 of the Eastern Wall, grainy, monochrome, but unmistakable. The very same letter shapes are faintly visible, but back then, they were inverted, not eroded, imprinted from within the stone, like the wall was resisting them. Now, they're breaking through. At the Israeli Museum of Antiquities, an alarmed curator uncovers an overlooked line in the copper scroll, item 27b. It references a stone of witness facing east, whose voice is silence until the end of days. Experts always assumed it was poetic, but now a pattern is emerging. Every time the tetragrammaton becomes visible, nearby birds vanish. No crows, no pigeons, nothing within a 200-meter radius. It's not just the stone speaking. Nature is listening. Meanwhile, in a lab just outside Haifa, a technician analyzing the stone composition notices an anomaly. The limestone surrounding the inscription reflects light differently by 1.3%. The shift is small but consistent. When subjected to ultraviolet light, the four letters fluoresce a faint violet hue not found anywhere else on the wall. Spectrographic comparison shows mineral alignment resembling only one other known artifact, a tablet recovered from Mount Sinai in 1954, now locked in a vault beneath Tel Aviv University. No one's allowed to photograph it. As the story spreads, pilgrims gather. Some kneel, some sing, some weep. On the third morning, a young boy from South Korea collapses near the wall. No fever, no pulse. Paramedics prepare to pronounce him dead, until the moment his mother screams the name Yahweh. He gasps, wakes, and repeats the same four letters over and over in ancient Hebrew. He doesn't speak the language. 2 hours later, the chief rabbinate issues a public notice calling the event inconclusive. But behind closed doors, a new directive circulates. No further commentary on gate phenomena shall be issued without Sanhedrin consultation. The Sanhedrin hasn't convened in over 1,600 years. Elsewhere, a messianic researcher, cross-referencing topographic scans with ancient texts, finds a geometric pattern only visible from above. The wall, the Mount of Olives, and the Gihon Spring form an isosceles triangle, with the Golden Gate as its apex. Embedded within that triangle is a perfect tetragram, the Hebrew letters of Yahweh, measurable only at sunrise on the spring equinox. The geometry is older than any city wall. New drone footage reveals what seems like fault line fractures radiating outward from the Golden Gate. But these aren't natural fissures. They curve, bend, form circles, each one matching the exact cubit radius of the Holy of Holies described in 1 Kings 6:20. In the drone's path, electromagnetic interference scrambles the signal for 11 seconds. When the video resumes, the camera has shifted, pointing straight upward, captured in a single frame, a circular rainbow, with its center aligned directly over the inscription. Simultaneously, deep within the Israeli Defense Ministry, engineers receive a ping from seismic sensors embedded around the Temple Mount. The ground is not shifting, but something beneath the eastern wall is producing rhythmic pulses. 6 beats, then silence. 6 more, then silence. The interval matches one other recorded source, the frequency signature captured beneath Golgotha during the 1981 excavation that was abruptly halted and sealed. A physicist brought in for consultation compares the pulses to a cardiac pattern. She writes one sentence in her report: "The mountain has a heartbeat." A group of priests and rabbis, unknown to the public, unannounced by the government, descend into the ancient tunnel system below the city. Their goal: reach the base of the eastern wall. 45 minutes in, the feed from their body cameras cuts. When it returns, the last frame shows a single object embedded in the dirt, a brass crown, broken in half, glowing faintly in the dark. In a lab in Jordan, a fragment of the Dead Sea Scrolls, long thought unreadable, is decoded using AI reconstruction. The translation reads, "And when the gate is named and the name revealed, the sky shall open once more, and the watchers shall descend." A meteor shower begins 24 hours later. Not forecasted, not expected, it breaks the night sky in full silence. And among the streaks, one burns longer than the rest, arcing from the east and vanishing above the Temple Mount. It leaves behind no debris, only smoke. And in the stone just below the wall, a 5th letter. It doesn't match any known script. The 5th letter, half buried, partially formed, but real, defies Hebrew convention. It's curved, unlike the squared precision of Paleo characters. Scholars from Tel Aviv and Princeton cross-reference ancient alphabets, Babylonian symbols, even Enochian scripts. Nothing matches. until a linguist from Damascus notices a similarity, not in human language, but in early proto-script, used by Ugaritic priests to signify the unutterable, a glyph meaning he who has not yet arrived. It was used once on a tablet describing a god returning through the gate of burning silence. The Israeli Antiquities Authority dispatches a classified team to scan beneath the inscription again. This time, the LiDAR renders something new, a circular void, precisely 7 meters beneath the Golden Gate. A perfect hollow chamber, 4 cubits wide, sealed in basalt. No known entrance, no inscriptions, but a magnetic signature inside is pulsing. Every 12 hours, at the moment between moonrise and sunrise, the pulse emits a frequency of 1.618 Hz, the golden ratio in waveform, nature's fingerprint. The Vatican sends a private envoy, not a cardinal, a Jesuit physicist flown in under diplomatic seal. He brings with him a sealed case, containing a device developed at CERN. No one speaks of what they tested, but 72 hours later, the envoy is flown out, pale and silent. Israeli media receives a leaked phrase from his debrief. The gate is not locked. It's counting down. In Mecca, during the Fajr prayer, the Imam pauses mid-verse. Cameras capture him looking eastward, confused, then frightened. Later that day, the Saudi Observatory releases an unlisted report. The crescent moon appeared 4 degrees too high on the horizon, bending timekeeping. Every Qibla-aligned compass shifted, just slightly, toward Jerusalem. The Temple Mount's seismic monitors now detect tremors inward, as if something beneath is moving closer to the surface. A visiting mystic from Saft, blind since birth, touches the wall below the inscription. His hands begin to tremble. He weeps. When asked why, he whispers, "It's not a name anymore. It's a voice." 4 security guards stationed at the eastern wall resign within 48 hours. One is hospitalized after claiming the letters were burning gold and breathing. Another releases a shaky video before disappearing. They're not words, they're openings. A deep mapping of the site uncovers a strange anomaly, light echoes, photonic shadows trapped in the stone. Using reverse ray tracing, researchers reconstruct what the wall saw centuries ago. The simulation reveals a procession. Figures in white robes walking toward the eastern gate, bearing a box of gold and acacia wood. The reconstruction timestamp aligns with April 3rd, 33 AD, the day many believe Jesus entered Jerusalem. In an underground archive in Istanbul, a hidden Ottoman document is translated for the first time. It describes the Gate of Sealed Fire and mentions a prophecy from a lost Jewish sect. When the name completes, the nations will tremble. The wall will not fall. It will open. The document is dated October 1541. The same month, Sultan Suleiman ordered the Eastern Gate sealed shut. In Washington, D.C., a Homeland Security satellite trained on the Middle East picks up an inexplicable burst, an optical flare from Jerusalem visible in infrared but invisible to the naked eye. The signal contains 4 pulses, then a pause, then one final burst. Scientists describe it as structured light, possibly encoded. In Mount Athos, Greece, a hermit monk carves a symbol into a rock face without explanation. Pilgrims find it days later. It's an exact replica of the new 5th letter forming on the wall. No phone, no satellite, no broadcast could have informed him. Back in Jerusalem, a 6th letter begins to appear. This time, etched deeper, more forcefully, like it's being pressed from the inside out. Chisel marks are ruled out. There are no scratch patterns. Under microscope, the stone fibers are separating at the molecular level, like something beneath is writing upward. For the first time in history, the full name of God is no longer static, it's expanding. Inside the sealed archives of Yad Avshalom, a rediscovered scroll fragment is unwrapped under cryogenic glass. It references a living name that emerges only when heaven presses into stone. The fragment is traced to the priestly sect of Zadok and warns, when the sixth comes, the watchers descend. When the seventh appears, the veil breaks. Satellite imagery now shows a heat bloom around the Golden Gate, expanding in radius every morning before sunrise. The bloom pattern perfectly matches ancient Jewish mezuzah placement diagrams. A priest from Ethiopia's ark-guarding community arrives at the mount without warning. He kneels, weeps, and speaks just 4 words. It's time. He's near a rabbi faints, not from exhaustion, not from age, but at the precise moment the 7th letter begins to form. It's not Hebrew, not Paleo, not from this world. The character burns faintly red in infrared scans, invisible to the human eye, but detectable from above. It pulses slowly, 3 times per minute, as if syncing to a rhythm outside time. At its center is a dot, just one, perfectly round. When magnified, that dot reveals a fractal pattern, the Fibonacci spiral, nestled into the wall like a fingerprint. Except no one touched it. Inside a remote monastery near Petra, an obsidian slab is unearthed beneath the floorboards during restoration. On its surface, 7 letters carved in a language scholars can't trace. The stone predates Christ. The shape of the 7th symbol matches, down to its fractal spiral. Next to it, engraved in faint Aramaic, when the 7th speaks, silence ends. Jerusalem's eastern wall is now emitting electromagnetic pulses strong enough to disrupt drones. Pilots report interference at exactly 3:33 a.m., no matter the day. Each time, the footage captures the same flash, like a lens flare, but in darkness. One analyst overlays the flash pattern across the eastern horizon and discovers something unexplainable. The points of light form the Hebrew word Ani, I am. Below the city, new excavations ordered in secrecy reach a layer of ash, not from 70 AD, not Roman, deeper, carbon dated to 3200 BC, far older than the known city. Embedded in the ash is a stone shard with molten glass fused into its center, shaped in a split oval. The chemical composition of the glass, identical to trinitite, material only formed at nuclear-level heat. When held up to the light, the shard refracts in only one shape, a gate. Across the Atlantic, the James Webb Telescope picks up a narrowband radio signal from deep space. 5 short bursts, 1 long, then silence. When converted to waveform, the signal forms the geometric equivalent of the menorah pattern, exactly 7 branches. The transmission originates from a cluster known in ancient Babylonian astronomy as the Sea of Fire. It is sent toward Earth's eastern hemisphere. In Jerusalem, the sealed chamber beneath the wall finally resonates. Microseismographs capture an internal vibration, humming at 528 Hz. The same frequency once recorded at the base of the Ark of the Covenant's last known resting place. The hum aligns with sunrise over the Mount of Olives and stops precisely when the sun touches the 7th letter. The wall doesn't crack, it exhales. In Poland, a Holocaust survivor nearing her final breath whispers a single word, Yahweh. Her daughter, who records the moment, later slows the audio. Beneath the whisper, a low male voice responds, not an echo, a reply. Spectral analysis confirms it speaks in ancient Hebrew. The wall continues changing. The limestone begins to darken, not decay, but transformation. Under polarized light, the blocks reveal circuitry-like veins, too uniform to be random. Geologists find trace elements of orichalcum, a mythical metal mentioned in Plato's Atlantis. It was never found on Earth. At the Israeli Knesset, a private session ends in chaos when a document is presented. It's unsigned, undated, hand-delivered with no known courier. Inside, a map. Not of the city, but of the sky above the city. Star patterns twisted, misaligned, forming a spiral over Jerusalem, and in the center, the exact coordinates of the Golden Gate. In Vatican vaults, a 12th century manuscript is discovered behind a false panel. Its title, Dominus per murum, the Lord through the wall. It describes a future when the name of God reappears on earth, not spoken, but grown, etched by light, witnessed by fire, and announced by silence. Only one phrase is written in red. The gate will open not to welcome, but to release. In the final moments before dawn, one last scan is taken, this time with ground-penetrating radar set to ultra-low frequency. For a brief second, the machinery fails, then reboots, and the wall is gone. On the screen, the Golden Gate no longer appears as stone, but as vacuum, not hollow, not excavated, absent, as if what stood there for centuries was never wall at all, but veil. When the radar scan completes, the technician stares in silence, because behind where the gate should be is a shape, a figure, standing still, facing out.